ready to restart.
Frame 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan to restart this first semi-final of the Shanghai Masters. It's 2-2 with Mark Selby. It was 2-0 to O'Sullivan, but Selby won those 2 frames before the interval. There's 5 more to come in this session.
Yeah, the match hasn't quite caught fire as we expected so far. No big breaks. Both though clearly well aware of one another. But at some stage I think you'll expect some big numbers to be put together. Mark Selby's scored marginally better so far in this tournament than Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Tap on the table from O'Sullivan. There's great respect here as snooker players. They're not necessarily going to be out for dinner together, but in terms of snooker, they fully respect one another's abilities.
Yeah, those days and those performances like Mark had against Judd Trump, where he completely froze the Masters champion out of that match, they don't come along all that often. Where it's complete domination. So you have to sometimes temper your expectations. Of course, Mark's well aware of that. He knows that it was always going to be a tough contest, this match. In some way you've got to pace yourself. You want to score, of course you do. You want to go put some big numbers together, win 2, 3, 4 frames on the spin, but it doesn't always happen that way. You've got to tough it out, and that's what he does.
Yeah, I think what links these two, when they play sort of different game, they're different characters, but what links them is they both, I think, always feel they're not quite playing well enough. Even when they play well, they don't get carried away. They always think there's room for improvement. Selby You know, he's thought a lot about his game and has sort of sought advice from various people. And we've heard O'Sullivan many times talk about he thinks he's not playing any good, even though to the rest of us it looks good. So they don't rest on their laurels, which maybe explains why they've been so successful.
Yeah, that last escape by Mark is fast becoming a shot. It's like a black off the spot for him. You just expect the thin glance. So accomplished at escaping, as he showed in the first 4 frames. Always seems to find a way. He's going to have to find one here again. Keep Ronnie at bay. There's no obvious leave in terms of the cue ball down this end. Yeah, so he's thinking about playing thick off one of the reds near the bunch here. Half ball, cue ball up on the green ball line. Excellent.
Holds his hand up and he's gutted he didn't get a kiss on the green. But little fluke. I mean, it was a good safety, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, the percentage play is cue ball in the sanctuary of the baulk cushion here.
Mark Selby, 1.
And as usual, he's pretty much found the most difficult spot. Ronnie to return the compliment. Yeah, so for once, misjudgment.
One. Six. Seven. Fourteen.
Ronnie spoke quite a lot in the past about being out there and trying umpteen different cue actions. I get the sense that he's actually doing it right now. See, it looks a bit different. It's not obvious, but I feel like he's playing around with his action right now. See that? It's more of a kind of a standard cue action. He's usually quite a little shorter than that, and you know,
21.
not as back and forth, so to speak. I think he's just trying to find something out there.
$26. $27.
It doesn't look like a massive difference, but to him it will feel totally different. See that? Just a subtle change, but in some ways fighting against himself at the moment.
30.
Still getting the job done.
$31. $34.
You'd think it's worth the gamble. Plough into these reds. But deciding to go about it in a more meticulous fashion now. The cannon, don't take your eye off the pot.
$42.
Well, it could have worked out better, couldn't it? Could have been left with a more straightforward red to continue. Yeah, and it stayed out.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 42.
It's been that sort of match, really. Neither player sort of got away from the other in any of the frames.
One.
Yeah, just think for that reason, to me it's quite apparent that Ronnie's experimenting out there. Not so Mark Selby. I think he's more in tune with his own game.
Six. 7.
course, Selby's going to be defending the English Open title pretty soon. A few weeks' time in Brentwood. That will kick off our home nation's coverage for another year. He also won the WST Classic. That was the replacement event for the Turkish Masters last season in Leicester.
14.
If you can win 2 ranking events in a season, that's really good these days because the game is so competitive. Of course, he also got to the World Final.
15.
Yeah, it's developing nicely, this
22.
little break. The hard work's about to start, obviously, but I think he'd be keen to get the pink back in its spot off this red.
23.
Deciding to wait it out. Yeah, but the hard work starts after this next red. Just checking. Can you play low in the
30.
pink to attempt to promote one of the reds?
$31.
So that's the shot. So they won't be playing in behind it.
$37. Mark Selby, 37.
Yeah, he leaves the table back in the frame, obviously, but he's very disappointed with that shot because he knows he's given Ronnie a free hit here. And he's taken full advantage. That's a brilliant shot. That's why when Mark left the table, he was very concerned. There may be a thin piece of red paint sticking out, but he doesn't have a lot that he can do with it. He's in a bit of trouble. I think all in all, well negotiated. You can only find the shot to nothing to get total control, though. Yes, he can. Only trouble is, again, with Mark coming this next shot in from tight behind the green, it's twice across, and you fancy him to rest on the red, no problem.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
One of those, as long as you don't overhit this. Yeah, proper snooker shot that. cue ball in the left wing and the red on the right for cover.
Okay.
Cue ball. Oh, wow. What a difference that makes. Good grief.
Well, can he pot this? I think he can. I think there's a gap. I'm not saying it's easy, far from it. It's about as far a distance as you can get in a snooker table, obviously between cue ball and red, but is the pot on?
Right, there you go. Brilliant. Fair to say it would have been a lot easier with cue ball in hand, but he's knocked it in anyway.
It's okay.
It feels like every frame is like a match in itself, and there's still work to do here, to say the least, to win this one. Well, just checking the scores. If he pots this brown, Selby needs a snooker. Another frame which was in the balance. Well, it's one snooker required. If that blue goes in, then it's definitely O'Sullivan's frame.
Five.
Yeah, not only trying to get in behind black, but being mindful of putting the pink in the middle of the table. This guy never misses a trick. He just always asks another question of you. You see, for him, the snooker's no good if the pink's remotely near a cushion. The other thing for Ronnie here with this escape, depending which way he plays it, got to be careful of the in-off in the bottom left corner. Oh. Breathe a huge sigh of relief.
It's just relentless.
Yeah, now here's a half chance. Yeah, the only thing, he obviously is looking to get the cue ball just below the right middle pocket of the first cushion, but can he get the pink away from the cushion at the same time? He feels that he can't, so looking for something different. See, he's trying to get the pink away from a cushion. That was why he went the other way. He would have felt and calculated, I can maybe get the snooker the conventional way off the right half of the pink, but I've got to get the pink away from a cushion. Anyway, frame ball. And this time, in it goes.
You always have to earn the frame against Mark Selby, and Ronnie O'Sullivan has done exactly that. So, having lost the 2 prior frames before the interval, he wins the first back. It's a real tussle, this. 3-2. So the referee, Wang Wei, sets the balls up for frame 6 of a possible 19. And Ronnie O'Sullivan has edged back in front here, 3-2. Every frame like a sort of chapter of a great novel, the story unfolding. We won't know the conclusion, of course, until this evening, but we've got 2 distinct characters here spinning the narrative, and it's been very hard fought. It could be any score, really, by now. They've had chances in every frame, but it is O'Sullivan just about holding the edge. The final on Sunday, by the way, best of 21, so first to 11. And of course the action continues next week, Alan, doesn't it? The International Championship qualifiers in Ponsford, Sheffield.
Yeah, it does. A lot of the big names were going to be there. You can enjoy that all on Discovery Plus, of course.
From 6, Mark Selby to break.
So Mark Selby trails 3-2 as he gets frame 6 underway. The signs are it's going to be close coming back tonight, but having said that, if O'Sullivan could find top form, you know, he could take some sort of lead, maybe quite a big one into the evening. So these next few frames still crucial. Same applies for Selby, of course. He could be 6-3 up at the end of this session.
8. Nine.
Okay, so a glancing blow, it would seem, on the edge of the bunch. Yeah, just got it a fraction full. Was looking to release the cue ball.
16.
I suppose the good news with this shot, it's almost a shot to nothing, you would think. And it might be a shot to something.
17.
If he can slice this black in. Missed one earlier, very similar to the far jaw, the thick side of it. Won't be at the forefront of his mind, but he will remember. Players do that. Just a slight distraction. I think the way he played it was smart. He didn't try to overplay it, just thought, right, make sure the pot. Get too ambitious with a bunch of reds.
$25.
Yeah, if this was in practice, he'd be playing the pink to the corner. But I don't think, as I said before, he's not quite in tune with what he's trying to do out there. Certain hesitancy about O'Sullivan today so far. He's not laying his cue ball often enough right in behind the next shot. Workmanlike performance so far continuing. And he's not timing it.
Ronnie 29.
He just isn't timing it. I do think, and I'm repeating myself, yes, but I do think he's chopping and changing with his cue action out there. I know he's done it a lot in the past. It looks to me, at least, that that's definitely going on. The other sign that I think confirms that is the fact that he is losing his cue ball. He's not in a rhythm, the flow that he'd like to be.
Yes, and I'm sure Selby obviously will have picked up on that himself. Mark Selby's the sort of character, he knows, he turns up at a venue, he knows everything that's happening. He knows all the results, what everyone's doing. They've only had 1/2 century in this match, 54 from Selby in frame 3. So neither player necessarily fully attuned to conditions.
Mark Selby, 8. Fram and miss Mark Selby 4. Got it.
In terms of general sort of discipline, this is what O'Sullivan was like yesterday with John Higgins. He certainly won a couple of frames early on there that, you know, in other environments he might not have done. And he did keep his focus so that when John Higgins started to struggle to kill it off, he was ready to step up. He actually said afterwards, you know, in maybe a multi-table event in the UK, he wouldn't have done. He said that himself. You know, with Selby, that won't be an issue, of course. Wherever he is in the world, that's how he'll be.
One.
Yeah, deliberately played, no apology, and the pot was good. I think even better is the angle he has on the brown if he wants to attack the bunch. It's absolutely perfect. The red on the extreme left of the bunch, there's potential for that springing the black and red into play as well, if he contacts that red. Oh, just missed it. Just missed it.
5.
It's been a little feature actually today. The splits they've been getting haven't been necessarily always the best. But still a chance to continue here, red to middle. And he's freed the black with a little cannon. He maybe doesn't get enough credit as a shot maker, Selby. I mean, we've seen the red he got in with, which is brilliant. He sees everything. Remember last season that treble that he pulled off in the middle of a 147, an incredible shot. So what a chance
13.
Yeah, again, 3 shots of supreme quality to set this up. The cannon into the bunch was beautifully played pace-wise. Didn't get his reward, but that red to middle. Just caressed that other
14.
red away from it. Has given him a decent chance. And now 4 in front, so 5 reds, 5 blacks from here would be 44 with 43 on.
21.
Not crucial that he stays on
22.
the black, but it would be helpful. Do not need any of the 2 tricky reds. But he can't do that now, so no cause for immediate alarm, nothing like that. But it changes. What he's got to achieve when the frame at this visit.
$35. $36.
Red just struggled in. There haven't really been any sort of clean frames, have there? They've all been competitive. This one, the same. Selby wiping his cue down as well.
38. $39. $46. $47.
Yeah, just he's absolutely bolt straight in this black, so can't quite get the cue ball as close to the red as he would like. Try to force it. Not bad, but as said earlier, he was always going to need
54.
one of these reds, so potential frame ball, no heroics.
There it is, 1 snooker needed. Make sure the black, this is the highest break of the match actually, by the player. At the moment, you just feel tonight it's going to be
62.
close at the finish. We'll see. One of them may pull away. It's not happened though in the first session yet.
63.
Yeah, I just feel that Mark's marginally the stronger player. Ronnie had his chance early in this frame, kept losing his cue ball. I just think Mark's, of the two, looks more likely to score.
Mark Selby, 63.
Well, he's made
And
63 there. That's the highest break of the day so far. So all square again with 3 to play in this session. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Selby are locked together at 3-3. So 3-3 and all still very tight here in Shanghai. First semi-final, of course. Tomorrow, all day, it's Neil Robertson against Luca Brissell. That'll be an interesting one. It's rather shorter head-to-head, 3-0 to Robertson, but of course Brissell, he's a changed man. He's world champion after all. We'll enjoy that one tomorrow. Later today, we'll enjoy more of La Vuelta. The cycling, of course, coming to the Boyle, stage 19 today. He's coming up. Let's hope so. Be interested to see if O'Sullivan in particular can find some sort of fluency before the end of this session, or is it all going to be nip and tuck and a little bit scrappy as the fans watching themselves on the monitor. Great to support for this event from the fans, from the sponsors, from the Chinese snooker community. Of course, all the Chinese players have been eliminated, 2 of them by Neil Robertson actually. He beat Ding Junhui and Fang Zhengyi, who was the last to fall yesterday. Wherever you are in the world, if someone sees themselves on a camera, they're going to wave, aren't they? That's just an established way of behaving. But they're enjoying this. It's not been the sort of fluent contest maybe people were expecting, but there's been incident in every frame.
From 7, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Frame 7 of a possible 19, 3 each between Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Selby here in Shanghai.
One.
Yeah, tough shot this yellow. Ronnie will know before Mark does whether it's on target. Yep. Just lost his cue ball. Good pot. Just the minute he struck it there, he felt he overcooked it. Of course, the pot was more important, I suppose.
Selby, 3.
Yeah, the other thing he does, Mark, as we know, and Ronnie's the same in a lot of ways, but he'll always give you a good workout when you come up against him. You're going to spend a lot of time wearing out the carpet up there, the bulk end.
Yeah, I think that's why when O'Sullivan beat him in that semi-final at the World Championship a couple of years ago now, it was one of his best ever wins, O'Sullivan, because that's a 3-day match, 4 sessions, and he was struggling early on in it. Selby took a bit early control, and okay, it was a bit unorthodox how O'Sullivan won it, but he stuck in there. You know, even when they played in the final, that was only 2 days. The semi-final's 3 days, the way it pans out in the schedule. So because of how it ended, there was a lot of sort of talk about his approach, but sort of credit to him for just staying in there with Selby. Of course, went on to win, that was his 6th world title. No damage done there. Yeah, that was, of course, that was the the final day of that was the possibly the most extraordinary day of snooker we've ever seen, after the Kyron Wilson Anthony McGill match in the afternoon. Of course, I mean, a 3-day match is a long one, but you know, going back a few decades, the World Final used to last for several weeks. It did need a bit of mental fortitude to cope with that.
Yeah, the crowd as much as the players. So the deadlock has been broken.
One.
His friend Ronnie searching still. Both players are searching for a rhythm that we're used to seeing. That was a sweet piece of cueing.
8. Nine.
Of course, as we know, he's one of those that 1 or 2 shots can click him into gear. That type of inspirational player. He can maybe play one. The last couple of screw shots have been well timed. So, let's see. Play a couple of shots like that properly, all of a sudden he gets a feel. Not so much a technical idea, just a feel. As we know, he can be off and running.
17. $24.
Yeah, again, going into the bunch, just landing awkward. Played it nicely, found the gap, screwed them, get the cue ball into the open, fully expect to be on one. You know he can play left-handed, but this is awkward bridging. Fortunately, just reach it. Yeah, that's lovely.
25.
I think he deserved that there. The quality of the shot into the bunch. Yes, he was quite fortunate with his bridge hand getting through the reds, but I think it was deserved. And I just sense that in this little contribution, he's hitting it better. That was another one. That was a beautifully played shot. And we know it's in there. The John Higgins match. Struggled most of the day. Push came to shove. 2 tons to finish. So it is in there.
That's the thing, isn't it, with Ronnie O'Sullivan? It's kind of always in there. Probably will always be in there. It's just how consistent he can be at bringing it out. I mean, he's 48 this year. We don't think of him as a veteran, but he is really. But when he does bring it out, as we saw yesterday, he can blow anyone away.
44.
This is really the best he's looked in the match, this contribution. It's going to be his first half century of the day if he knocks the black in.
Yeah, the signs were there early in this break. His cue ball all of a sudden is behaving the way he wants it to. See, there it is again, deep screw for the low black, absolutely perfect. His cue ball's been pristine. The first indication
61.
he's starting to click into a bit of form. One more red. He'll be back in front again.
Yes, and the significance is he hasn't scrapped
68.
a frame out. He's going to win it, it seems, in one visit. So without going through all the permutations in the scores,
74.
clearly at this stage, 4-3, Selby will be looking for certainly one of the frames. You'd like to win them both, but if you win one of them, there'll
75.
be only one in it coming back this evening. Almost like starting again, but 6-3 is an opportunity for O'Sullivan, certainly playing like this. If he can score in the next couple.
$82. 83. 88. 89.
Let's see how he strikes this one. Yeah, the frame's gone. Spin it round a couple of cushions. See how close he gets to straight on the red. Pretty good,
94.
but again, he certainly hit the ball better in this contribution than at any stage of the match so far.
95.
So the danger signs, the warning signs are there for Mark Selby. I agree with Dave. He's going to have to show something himself with the last couple of frames of this session on the way.
Yellow then
99.
for his fourth century of the week. And the 1,206th of his career.
$104. 108.
He's actually made the most, won't surprise anyone to know, the most centuries in the Shanghai Masters, all told 32 down the years.
113.
This has been a timely one because it was a bit of a struggle prior to that, but a real moment of quality from Ronnie O'Sullivan. 113 to go back in front here at 4-3 with two big frames left to play in this opening session.
Later on in the week, more big names, all on Discovery Plus.
Selby to break.
So it's a close match, but Mark Selby's never got his nose in front, and he's behind again here. 4-3, Ronnie O'Sullivan. But the significance of the last frame was how he won it. One visit, 113. Is that the start of an uplift in his form today, in his scoring? We'll see.
Saw a nice tweet there actually from former professional Bassem Eltahan, former African snooker champion. He'd been busy with a slow-mo of the, not incident, but earlier on in the match. Was it red first, was it black first? So thank you, Bassem, and I hope you're well. I know you're watching as always, and yeah, I think the consensus was that it was marginally red first, but we're not going to complain about the decision by the referee. It was a very difficult one, especially out there in live play, but yeah, thank you, Bassem, and hope you're well.
Meanwhile, that was definitely blue first. That wasn't that wasn't a difficult one for anyone. Caught the blue. Yes, Wang Wei is the referee here.
Yeah, there was another quite, not famous one, but world final. Mark Selby eventually overcame John Higgins a number of years ago. There was one in that, wasn't there, where Mark tried to roll up behind the black, and I think our best ever referee, Jan Verhaas, was officiating there, and he called a foul, and I think he was correct, but the not the argument, but the debate raged on, but it was a brilliant decision, I thought, by Jan at the time. As usual by him, he called a foul. He had to give what he could see. What he thought he saw was no contact on the black, so he called a foul, and Mark was absolutely fine with it. It's not an easy job sometimes.
No, it isn't. But of course, what we don't have in snooker is a sort of VAR room, which they have in other sports. However, what we do have is television replay, so everyone at home are watching the replays. And the referees are supposed to sort of make the decision in live play. I mean, there is latitude to look at the technology, but it's a bit of an anomaly, really, that everyone else can see it and they can't. Yeah, he's not that good to play that. He holds his hand up. He got away with that thicker contact. Of course, leaves the white much closer to the reds. Thicker contact on that second red, that is. A bit of a sigh from O'Sullivan as he sees the cue ball travel to balk. But he didn't get close to the pot.
5.
Yeah, let's see how Mark's ball striking is. This is going to have to be sweet as a bun, this one, to get the cue ball back up table. Yeah.
Mark Selby.
Tough
5.
shot, but not quite with it.
Foul. Mark Selby 4.
Well, he was looking up. I don't know whether there was some sort of noise or something here as he played the shot or movement. Just looked straight up, didn't he? Might have been okay, but for the in-off, obviously that red was waiting.
Six.
Yeah, so this is quite a key shot. You can't just dribble it in or he loses the cue ball. Have to play it with a certain amount of pace. Dribble it in he did, but where's his next red coming from? I can certainly understand playing it slowly, but it just looked too difficult, I thought, to certainly be comfortable on the next red. This is quite a nasty one. Not least for the fact it's a shot that you don't play very often. Oh, that's superb. I mean, his cue ball is magnificent as well. If he doesn't clear the brown, he's unlucky.
14.
That was brilliantly played.
Mark Selby 14.
Got to flirt with the pink here. Can't be low in the bunch. And low it is.
Foul and miss. Mark Selby 4.
Yeah, just on the escape, he would have been mindful of that. Try and get close to the pink. Complete misjudgment. No real importance getting the cue ball absolutely where it was. He's going to be playing the same shot again. He had plenty of room with Ronnie, so same thing again.
Foul and miss. Mark Selby 4.
And this time he has left the red. It's unlike him to be inaccurate, that type of shot. So good at those escapes, all the top players these days.
Eight. Nine.
Yeah, the split's a risk here, isn't it? It's one that he probably doesn't, in his heart of hearts, want to play. Tried to play it with a degree of control and played it very well.
14.
So 50 to the good already. Looking good for 4 each.
15.
And if it is to be 4 each, it just puts a little bit less on the last frame of the session. Obviously, if O'Sullivan won this frame 5-3, looking at a 3-frame lead, but it could be there'll just be one in it,
22.
and this fascinating encounter has a long way to go yet. Selby, though, has still got to put this frame away. Got that red safe on the left-hand side cushion. There's a bit of security. Red sort of wriggled in.
23. $25.
You've got to hand it to this fella. I mean, I know we always do, but he's made of such strong stuff. Largely, this frame has nullified the O'Sullivan onslaught of the previous frame. And this red
31.
to put us into, well, a session decider.
32.
Probably more for the bragging rights than anything else. I don't think 5-4 either way is gonna give us any more clues to who's going to win this match eventually when they come back tonight.
40.
But of course it's a big frame coming up, as I say, more for the bragging rights than anything. Mark Selby hasn't been in front yet in this match. He's been hanging on as he always does.
47. 48. $55.
This is Mark
56.
Selby's third half century of the match. There is enough on for a century, but obviously that last red needs dealing with.
61. 62.
Well, he's got it off the cushion. Can he knock it in?
68.
He can.
69.
Yeah, no great surprise this. It's like, as often as the case, one player starts playing that bit better, the other one just follows along in the slipstream.
74.
Yep, he
76.
made a century, of course, in the previous frame. Mark Selby looking like he's going to return the favour here.
79.
It would be his first of the tournament. Just edged past Stephen Hendry's
83.
all-time tally at the Wuhan Open qualifiers. He's up to 778, Hendry 777 on the all-time list.
$88. $94.
So this match bubbling along nicely. 101 clearance from Mark Selby to follow the 1-1-3 from Ronnie O'Sullivan in the previous frame. And with one frame left to play in this session, it's as close as it could be, all square at 4-4. So the only question now, who's going to get the edge going into tonight's final session? So Ronnie O'Sullivan gets the last frame of the session underway, 4-4 with Mark Selby. So whatever happens here, it's going to be very tight coming back for tonight's evening session.
Oh, now can he get through? Obviously not. Early days, I know. Potential for a stalemate. And indeed, deciding that, yeah, there was nothing going to happen, so a re-rack it is.
Yes, it's a long enough day, isn't it, without sort of tip-tapping for no reason. So that was decided very quickly.
Gives a chance quickly just to tell you about that International Championship qualifying next week. Starts on Monday at Ponds Forge in Sheffield. I mentioned on Monday Stephen Maguire, Barry Hawkins, Stephen Hendry, Jimmy White are playing. It's all on Discovery Plus, of course. Later on in the week, on the Thursday, you've got Mark Allen, Jack Lazowski, Karen Wilson, Mark Selby, Mark Williams. Then on the Friday, John Higgins, Sean Murphy, Neil Robertson, all on Discovery Plus. Those matches, 4 tables in play in Sheffield, just down the hill from the Crucible.
Ronnie.
Yeah, of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan, his match is held over, so he won't be involved. So, for the second time, the last frame of the session gets underway. We've had a re-rack, 4 each between O'Sullivan and Selby. We've had an exchange of centuries. We've had everything really in this session. It's been hard fought at times. Both players adapting to the table. Just boiling up nicely for tonight, I think, when we're going to see maybe the real fireworks. Just looking actually at the previous matches in terms of deciding frame victories, Selby just holding the edge 5-4, but all of it is very close, and this match is panning out the same way.
Now, how straight is he on this red in terms of avoiding a cannon? Yeah, I don't think it was avoidable. Sure, he didn't get the pot, so we'll never know, but I think it was something that was in his eye line, in his mind, kind of put him off the shot itself.
One.
Yeah, good pot. You'd think this is worth the gamble. Black out of commission. Opportunity to perhaps get the pink into play. Let's see if he gambles. Going deep on the cue ball, looks like it. Ah, brilliant shot. That is a super shot. For little reward, that little shake of the head tells us, I think, that he's not on the red to left corner. Been a feature of this match, both players going into the bunch and generally, more often than not landing well. Still got one with the rest. Far from easy. Played that lovely. Now this could be the key shot. Push some reds into the open. The cue ball out of there. Pink and blue waiting. Perfect.
Yeah, good signs here for Selby. He's already cleared a few hurdles in this break. I think one of his great attributes actually is that he doesn't think everything should come easily, because in his life it never has done. Certainly growing up it didn't. In the summer this year he went to receive his MBE from Princess Anne, and he said afterwards that he just wouldn't have believed when he was growing up, you know, with not a lot of money in Leicester, that he would ever be in a position to receive an award like that. It meant a lot to him and his family. Thoroughly deserved as well. Not just for his snooker, but also the work he's done charity
16.
in Leicester.
22.
Yeah, this has been excellent.
23.
The quality has gone up a couple of notches this last 2.5 frames for certain. And he's looking very good here, isn't he? All of a sudden doesn't look like missing. Might hold the spot here. Yeah, just hold the spot, put it on the black spot. Just makes things a wee bit easier for a shot or two.
29.
And isn't it typical of the man? At no point has he ever really been in any sort of control in this session. Trailing all the way. Ronnie hits some form and hits Mark with a century to go 4-3 in front. And lo and behold,
36.
he's going to finish the session in front. If he can stay at the table for the next 10 shots or so.
37.
That's the thing, when O'Sullivan made the century for 4-3, you think, okay, can he now take control of the session, of the match? But we've barely seen him since, actually. All been this man. He admires and he respects Ronnie O'Sullivan, but he's not in fear of him. And let's be honest, there are some players, including top players, who, when they play him,
43.
or have done at times, you think possibly they are. But we know from the many meetings they've had that doesn't apply to Selby.
44.
No, it's simply superb. Beautiful control he's shown.
50.
Had to work early in this break to manufacture, engineer the chance. Now top side of the pink.
51.
Just about force the cue ball in behind the two reds. There's never panic in him, that's the thing as well.
57.
Selby, playing against a guy who's unbeaten here in so many years, so many matches. Has a great reputation in
58.
China, well, everywhere obviously, but in China, almost been unbeatable in recent years. Ronnie hasn't been all over Mark in this match, not by any stretch, but Ronnie's had more control. But it's water off a duck's back. Simple shot again, hold the spot. And the simple red. And the jester will have the last laugh in this opening session.
Yes, not only winning the last two frames, but winning them really well. So as the first act of the drama, it's been fascinating viewing. It's been hard fought at times, but fluency's been found towards the end. Act 2 pretty much unmissable later, of course, when they return in a couple of hours' time. First to 10, long way to go. A lot of snooker left to be played, but Mark Selby is at least going to be in front for the first time on the resumption.
72. $78.
Yeah, he's been like a sculptor in this match, just chiseling away. It hasn't been pretty at times, but it's looking a lot better. Going into what's sure to be a blockbusting session tonight in Shanghai. It'll be a full house and a great occasion. Just remains to be seen, can he finish with another century?
85. 86.
Yeah, despite O'Sullivan's great record in this event, actually Mark Selby's won more matches than anyone in the Shanghai Masters over the years, so it just underlines his record in China as well.
93.
What a finish then. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 113 to lead 4-3. Mark Selby,
99.
101 for 4-4, and this yellow for another century. 3 on the spin in the match. Oh, he's missed it after all that. But a terrific break nonetheless. 99 from Mark Selby concludes a fascinating opening session, and there'll be plenty more to come between these two greats later today. But for the first time in the match, Mark Selby does have the lead. 5-4, remember 10 needed to reach the Shanghai Masters final. And they will return in just over 2 hours.